matter if we go into a bloody fight. We go, for example, to Kasarani, we have a major fallout, half the
But
party.
isn't that the nature of competition, that it will be very protracted sometimes, and there is nothing you know, irregular about it, because these positions are very hard fought. There are many contestants. How do you take out the fight?
The fight, what the positions, yes, we must get the positions, but what I'm saying, what are we looking for? Look at where we are now at the moment as the main opposition party in Kenya. There's a lot that is, in my view, not right in the country. It is our duty as the main opposition party in Kenya to provide the alternative voice. If we go out for an election, a bloody election, because that's really, to me, is what like the public wants to see. I totally don't agree with that. I'm looking for an orderly process.
Would you be for consensus?
Call it whatever you want. I'm looking for a process where at the end of it all, the losers will be able to embrace the winners, so that because it's not just for our own sake, even for the sake of the Jubilee administration, a strong opposition is good for this country. Okay. If at the end of this exercise, we end up with a weak ODM, which is really the main opposition party in Kenya.
A general question to both the contestants.
Yeah, no,
just a minute.
Okay.
David finishes.
Yes. Just between the two of you, yeah. I mean, you are all, I think, second-term members of parliament.
Yes.
You are very close to the party hierarchies, the leadership that has been there.
Yeah.
What then is fresh? What makes you think you'll move ODM forward that you've not been able, through your influence within the party, to do? So that people say, so what is fresh? We have seen Namwamba, you know, General Namwamba on the lead. You have been within the inner circles of the party. How come you didn't achieve the things that you would want to talk about now?
David, two quick things. First of all, before I come to your question, let us not be academic about this. I mean, we are not in a church service here. This is not a wedding ceremony. This is politics.
Right.
Whether it's an internal election, whether it's a general election, there are certainly reducible minimums that define a political contest. I agree absolutely, and I have said this repeatedly on the campaign trail, that this is akin to a practice match amongst team members on the same team. And one thing that defines a practice match is that you don't go out there to break the leg of a teammate, because you want every member of the team fit when the real game comes on. And the real game for us is the 2017 general election. The real rival here is Jubilee. And I would love to have every single member of this team ODM, my brother Gumbo, my sister Zani, my sister Ongoro, I want all of us fit and ready to face our real opponent, who is Jubilee. But having said that, competition for political positions at whatever level is competitive, and it will raise heat. If you want to play this game in a manner that it will not generate any heat, then please go to bed and then don't wake up. It will raise heat. All that matters is that we must manage this heat in such a manner.
Maybe what we should
that
ask
it doesn't
how has he done it without
party.
raising heat and remain in the contest?
Yes, because if you're going to go out there, and remember, because we are all running on the platform of the same party, there is no ideological distinction between us. ODM's ideological cutting edge, we are social democrats. That is what distinguishes us from other political parties. And so, because all of us believe in social democracy, we are not going to go out there and argue on who is more social democrat than the other. So we look at other defining factors. Who has served this party best? Okay? Who has always been there for the party when it's raining, when the sun is beating us? And who best reflects the future of this party? Those are some of the things that we look at.
Now, can you answer Makali's question?
To help the members.
Can you answer Makali's question about what change are you bringing?
I want to answer your question now, tied together with David's question. David, you have seen us, as you have said, and we have always been there for ODM. But it is one thing to be active in the activities of the party, and a completely different thing to be a decision maker in the party. And so whereas some of us have always been there, we have always been active, and any time when called upon, we have always stood for the party. We have never really been in the sanctum of the party in terms of decision making. And this is the point. Personally, I have said that I'm tired of going out there, rallying the votes, and then watching us stumble right at the last hurdle because we don't do basic things and we don't get basic things right. For instance, in this last general election, I would have loved a scenario where we had a proper, effective, independent tallying center side by side, the IEBC tallying center, so that we would have been able to compare the tally coming through at Bomas of Kenya with our own competently generated tally of the presidential vote. For me, after having gone out there to rally votes for Raila Odinga, I would have loved to be in a position to be able to determine how to protect those votes at that final stage. And so I want to bring freshness, not freshness of presence, because I've been there, but freshness of decision making, being able to influence what ultimately happens and how the party determines the action. I've never determined how nominations are done. I've never determined how our presidential campaign is supposed to be deployed. Instead, I have been deployed. Now I want to be able to deploy.
But don't you think that
Yes.
your colleague here, Mr. Gumbo, has a point, given that every time we see ODM going into elections, there is always talk of discord. And there's always talk of an inner coterie of influences misleading your party leader. And so therefore, as you go into this internal contest, unity will be a key challenge for ODM. And the challenge will also be whether ODM can survive this contest.
I agree with you that any time ODM has attempted an exercise of this nature, there has always been controversy. But for me, that controversy does not really bother me. In fact, a lot of that controversy is externally generated. A lot of this controversy is media-driven. This whole agenda that there are preferred lists, that the party leader is favoring one person against the other, is pretty much media-driven. The party leader has consistently...
So the media is also creating this
the media is part of this whole thing. I believe so.
Why?
And our rivals in government, Jubilee, would love to see the Orange House on fire. And so they would do anything to fan the imagination that there is fire in the House of Orange. I know, for instance, that the party leader has been very consistent, very persistent, that he's leader to all of us. I mean, Raila Odinga would have to be out of his mind to dismember his own party.
But let me ask you,
Yeah.
Ababu, what is wrong with the party leader having his list of what he would think would be preferred officials, knowing the competences of all the members, and he knows Namwamba would be best serving this party here? He can have his own preference, just like he'll vote for Namwamba or Gumbo or Ongoro.
David, I have no problem
Zani.
with that. David, I have absolutely no problem with that if the party leader expressed that
Right.
to the party, whether openly or quietly. I would have no problem with that. But in a scenario where the party leader has come out, not once, not twice, consistently, persistently,
I don't
as
have.
recently as yesterday, the party leader is telling you, I'm father to all these children. I have faith in all of them, and I've told them, go forth and seek whichever position and allow, I mean, actually the party leader is saying he has faith in the ability of the delegates to make a prudent choice. Now, if the party leader has said that, who am I to doubt him?
Okay.
If the party leader has expressed that opinion to
those
you, David, you can then be able to tell us that Raila Odinga has told me, as a David McCarley, that he has a preferred leader. But Raila Odinga is saying he doesn't have that.
But what about those
So
politicians?
why are you putting these words
What
in
about
his mouth?
those ODM candidates who said they were elbowed out to move out?
Now on the question of being elbowed out, first of all, let me say that when this whole drama of who is being elbowed out and people dropping out was happening, I was out of the country. And I must say, observing all those developments while out of the country, I was very disappointed. Because I would have loved a full house in terms of this competition. My people in Budalagi have a saying that the more the dancers, the merrier the dance. And so the more people you have on the, in this race, the better it would have been for everybody. And so I was disappointed to see, for instance, Governor Kidero, my brother Ken Obura, Honorable Dalma Sotieno. I was disappointed to watch them drop out of this race. But I do not believe anybody was compelled to drop out of the race.
Let me, okay.
There was a huge
Yes.
sigh
Yeah.
from Mr. Gumbo when
Yeah.
we brought up the issue of people being elbowed out. What's your perspective on that?
I don't agree at all that anybody was elbowed out. In fact, it is not. It would even go against the principles of our party, because our party believes in inclusiveness. So if somebody said they were elbowed out, the reasons they were giving, the way they had put them would imply that I too should have been elbowed out, but nobody elbowed me out.
But is it true, Gumbo, that
Yes.
there were internal discussions, consultations, which
let
yielded in some people stepping down
something.
or out of the
Let me
rest?
explain. You know, I told you from the beginning that the reason I believe I can make a change in this party is because I'm an engineer. So I look at things from an engineering perspective. Number one, initially, we were 7 of us looking for the Secretary General's post. So obviously, you start from the fact that if we all went for the contest, 6 of us would lose. That is as simple as it is. Whichever way, if you throw it out there to the delegates, 7 of you are looking for one post, 6 of you have to lose.